and I'm unstoppable. High score secrets, I've got them all unlocked. Memories rush back like a time machine. Take me back to the arcade, where I spent my younger days. In the black lights glowing on a pocket full of tokens. Dance and groove to the beat. On the pixelated screen
The ultimate program for schools, colleges, and universities, and business
melodies playing loud.
Before you apply, let me tell you how this program
Lost
works.
in the
Who
arcade.
is this program for? We focus on helping our
We were all fly to side, popping tokens in the cabinet. It's the thrill of the fight. It's the thrill of the fight. We save the world through pixelated dreams. We're the greatest generation with the faded acid genes. Take me back to the arcade.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
hello, everybody.
Last day of the camp.
So excited to be here. We're all just excited to just have this next speaker too, because he needs no introduction. But girls, go ahead and tell him the goods.
Well, today I'm going to start off with, Swivel being the platinum sponsor. This is day 5 of Week of AI. We're excited. Day 5, yes. And so we're super excited. Swivel, shout out to them for being that sponsor the whole week. And I'm going to talk about Brisk because I just absolutely love the swag that they were able to sponsor for us. Everybody show us the t-shirts. All right, this is the swag. I know a lot of people have been winning stuff, so I'm excited. I see people getting candles, shirts, hoodies, blankets, even pajama pants. And so super excited about all the swag available. Notebooks. All right, Christy, tell us about our day sponsor today.
Oh, I thought maybe you wanted to see my pajama pants. Okay. So today's sponsor is Almanac. And we just had such a great session from Renee about all the cool things that it can do. It does so much more than I even imagined. So really cool tool to check out. And I am super excited for this.
Yes. And just real quickly, just to make sure we know where you are in the world, we would love for you to join our Bitly map. bit.ly/Week of AI map, all lowercase. And you can tell us more about yourself too, because we want people to connect. So here is the map right here. Look at all these places in the world. So just hit the plus sign at the bottom and get in there and tell us more about you. Put pictures, put videos, and you can even link your contact info if you want to meet people. And you can even comment on the bottom right here. So that would be fun to see you all in there. But as you know, this keynote tonight, thank you, Amanda, for bringing Mr. Eric Curts. I don't think needs much of an introduction. Let's bring him up and say hello.
Hey.
He loves when I do that. So Eric Curts has over 30 years experience and works as an ed tech specialist in Ohio and provides training to organizations across the country. He is a Google certified trainer and innovator, sharing all his ed tech resources on his website at controlaltachieve.com. That is the shortest bio for such a legend. I'm telling you, and my teachers at my school, my whole district are obsessed with Eric Curts. So he gets very shy and
He's not obsessed with Eric Curts.
I know, right? And he's so nice. He's such a nice person.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, but I'm just a dude. It's just me. So
I know.
Well, whoever is writing the comments, I can't believe y'all gonna put Dustin's comments up during his bio. They're sitting there laughing during his bio. I mean, that was not cool.
Oh my God, I did not do that. All right, well let's bring up his show. I don't know why that happened. Why did that happen, Amanda? There it is. Okay, there's just too many of us here. There we go. Oh, we had the wrong. Erica, read a book.
Layout issues.
Okay, Amanda, did you have anything else you wanted to add before Eric takes
Nope. We're just gonna let Eric take the stage.
Yeah, do his thing.
All
Okay,
right.
E, have some fun.
All right. Hey, well, thank you so very much for having me. And thanks to everybody who is with us here tonight. If you've joined us live, that's fantastic. Please throw some comments in the chat. I do have that open on another screen, so I'll keep an eye on it. If you're watching the recording in the future, hey, that's fantastic too. Thank you for taking time out of your day to let me be a part of your learning. I'm excited to be learning with you here today. Little bit of housekeeping before we dive on in here. This particular session, I do have a resource document that goes along with a lot of the content, and you'll see that on the screen there, bit.ly/Curts-AI. You do not need to have that open for this session, but there's a lot of tools I'm going to be mentioning, and if you want to get links to those tools, they're in that document. So I'm going to real quick just show you what that document looks like so that in the future, you can use that to get back to some of these resources. This is what that document looks like. If you go to, again, to bit.ly/Curts-AI, there's that link again there. That'll get you to a document that I use for a workshop I do on the ABCs of AI. So usually like a 3-hour workshop that I do. We're just pulling from that for our Bionic Educator keynote here tonight. But this document has loads and loads of resources in there, about, I don't know how many, 20 pages worth of AI tools and AI uses and how to address AI concerns in education. Just so much content in here. Again, typically I use this for a workshop that I do that we'll do as a multi-hour workshop. But from that big document, I'll be pulling some resources for this. So please do feel free to access that document. Feel free to make a copy of it, save it to your drive, bookmark it, whatever works best for you. So while you're doing that, thanks for that wonderful introduction. So yes, my name is Eric Curts. I am an educator in Northeast Ohio. Was a math teacher. Now I'm a tech coach. That's my day job. And then on the side, I do stuff like this. Do a lot of trainings all around the country, in person and virtual. Always got to give a shout out also to the grandkids. I'm a proud grandpa, my grandson and granddaughter, and then all my hobbies and interests and things like that there. And there's loads of ways to stay connected with me. You can go to this link if you want to do that. Or you know what, if you opened up that earlier document, all of the stuff is at the very top of the document. So that's another easy way to access it at the top of the document. It's all the ways to stay in touch with me, whether it's my blog, Control-Alt-Achieve, email, socials, YouTube channel, email newsletter, Facebook group, email discussion group, loads of ways, whatever works best for you to stay in touch with me, you find the way, because I do want to learn, not just, with you, but from you. There's no way with education that any of us can be an expert in this when it comes to AI. We are constantly learning new things. And so I'm not here tonight to present to you. I'm here to learn with you, and I want to learn from you. So please do stay connected so we can keep learning together. That would be wonderful. All right. Well, let's get on into the Bionic Educator, AI and education, what we're going to be talking about here tonight. So to begin with, let me tell you real quick where this particular keynote came from, where this discussion came from. So like I mentioned, I started off as a middle school math teacher, taught middle school math for 7 years, loved it. There I am. That was me my first year teaching. Not a whole lot of difference. I don't know, same quantity of hair. It's just moved down to the bottom of my face. But I taught for 7 years and then moved into a role as a tech coach for that same district. Now I work at the Stark County Educational Service Center, supporting about 35 school districts with technology training. And I do a lot of this stuff. I go around doing trainings and stuff. Well, over the years, I was doing a particular keynote often. There was one that I was doing as I went around and did all these trainings. And in that particular keynote, I would ask a question partway through. I'd say something like, What jobs do you think will be gone in the future when our students graduate and head off to go get a job? If you're teaching elementary school students or middle school students, or I think of my grandkids, Gavin and Morgan, I'd say when those students get through school and they go out, what do you think? What jobs will be gone or severely reduced in the future? So that was a question that I would ask, and of course, I'd give people some way to respond, like they could. Oh, I use a Google form sometimes. Sometimes I use Pear Deck. It would depend upon that situation. And here's an example of the kind of response I would get. This is an actual word cloud from one of the conferences I did this at. And this was pretty common. This was pretty normal. People would say, yeah, probably cashiers. We won't have as many cashiers in the future because technology is going to replace that. Same thing with bank tellers, factory jobs, postal workers, drivers. And that was a common theme. We're talking about, jobs that technology might replace in the future. But here's the kicker. Every time I did this keynote, this particular one, this one in the past, every time I did it and I would ask this question, if I was talking to educators, somebody would always say teachers. No matter what. This time, teachers and librarians both showed up in here. It was without fail. Anytime I did this, somewhere in the feedback, people would say teachers. And I started to think, is this something educators are worried about? Is there a concern that technology will replace us? Will teachers be a job in the future that goes away or is significantly, cut down or changed in some, way? And so that is what spurred this particular keynote. So from that, I developed the Bionic Educator. I basically did a deep dive into that question. And I was trying to answer basically the question, will technology ever replace a teacher? Now, there's another way we could word that. That's one way we could say it. Another way we could say it is, who or what is the best teacher in the world? And so that is what I want to answer for you tonight, depending upon when you're watching this. It's tonight for me. But that's the question that I want to answer here in this session. And I'll give you my answer by the end of this. May not be your answer, but I'll do my best to explain why it's mine. So that's the plan for this session, is to dive into the question, will technology ever replace a teacher? And who or what is the best teacher in the world? Now, this is not a new question, even though it seemed to be something that was popping up a lot in those old keynotes I was doing. This is definitely something that has been wondered about in the past. So if you were a person who watched the Jetsons in the past, you might recall the robot teacher in there. And so that was a vision of the future where they thought, yeah, in the future, teachers are going to be replaced by technology. Maybe not as well known. Here's some other things I came across. For example, here is an image. I don't know where it's from, but it appears they were predicting the year 2000, where teachers would still exist, but their job would basically be dropping books into a machine that gets cranked. And then the knowledge from the books apparently goes through the machine, goes up into the wires, and then comes down to these headsets for the students. And that's how they learn. Well, all except for the student who's doing the cranking, apparently. Here's another one. This one, again, I don't know where it's from, but it was a prediction of the future where you've got a math classroom. And again, you don't have a traditional teacher. We have a video up front. So we don't have a live teacher in the classroom. Technology has replaced that teacher. Oddly, though, we do have, if students get questions wrong, apparently there's these red balls on the end of these really long poles, and they come down and whack them on the head. So not necessarily the best environment for learning math there. This next one I came across, I do know where it's from. This is from the Chicago Tribune. It says 1960. So think about this. Oh my gosh, we're talking, over 60 years ago, they were predicting what they thought the future would be. And again, yeah, technology has replaced the traditional teacher. You've got a student who is learning at home. They're around this big device. basically a computer. There's a TV instructor. So there's YouTube or, I don't know, Google Meet or Zoom. There's an electronic notebook. So there's Google Docs. Here's some test questions. There's Google Forms. Now, they did a pretty good job, actually, though, because that kind of reminds me of what happened, a few years ago when we had COVID and everybody was at home learning. However, they did not do a very good job of predicting Wi-Fi because they still have these rabbit ear antennas coming out of this device there. But the point is, this is not a new question. We've definitely had that question before. Will technology take the place of a teacher? And over the 32 years that I've been in education, yeah, I've had that same question pop up every now and then, whether it was when computers made their way into the classroom, or when the internet exploded and became, such a powerful tool, or when YouTube was available and, there's a video for everything. It's like, there's all these ways that we can learn content besides from a traditional teacher, but we're still here. All of these things have come and educators are still here. Well, that brings us to the latest contender in this battle, and that is AI. So 2 Novembers ago, ChatGPT was unleashed upon the world and sent shockwaves through the world. Suddenly, everybody took notice of this, and with all of the different responses we had, certainly, one of them is, okay, what impact is this going to have on education? And so that's what I want to take a look at here tonight, is with the question, will technology replace a teacher? Who or what is the best teacher in the world? We have a new contender who has entered the ring, and that is artificial intelligence. So let's take a look at what this new option is when it comes to potentially taking the place of a teacher. To make sure we're all on the same page, when I say artificial intelligence, typically what I mean by that is anytime there's a computer system that does something that normally you would expect would require a human. So maybe it's the ability to see an image and understand what that image is. We normally think, oh, you have to be a human to do that, or to be able to hear something being spoken and understand what those words are, or to, see something typed in and be able to pull meaning from those words. Things that normally we would think, language processing, image processing, sound processing, things we think a human would be required for. If a computer can do that, that's typically what we think of as artificial intelligence. Now, a specific kind of AI is really what we're going to be focusing on more, which is generative AI, the type of AI that can create new content, not just process content that's already there, but pull from its vast training database and create new text, new images, new music, new code, new video, things like that. And this is a powerful tool. There have been a lot of studies already predicting the effect this is going to have on jobs. One particular study was estimating the equivalent of 300 million jobs getting replaced or significantly affected over the next 5 years. And the kind of jobs, it wasn't the ones you saw on my word cloud a few moments ago. We're not talking cashiers and drivers. We're talking about jobs that involve creation. So content writing, customer support, data analysis, creative design and art, programming, legal research, marketing, translating, financial analysis, medical diagnostics, and education and tutoring. Absolutely. And so with all that in mind, let's dive into that question. Will technology ever replace a teacher? Who or what is the best teacher in the world? And if you're not a teacher, that's okay. Put your own career in that spot. Who or what is the best fill in the blank in the world, because this really does apply to all of us. Although most of my examples, I will be referring to educators and teachers throughout this. All right. So to answer that question, I think the place to begin is to take a look at what can AI do? What sort of a threat is it to educators? What capabilities does it actually have? So let's run through some examples of what artificial intelligence can do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do different categories. Remember I said AI is basically when a computer can do something that normally a human would be required for. So things like language processing, speech processing, image processing. So let's run through a couple of categories and just see what are we currently up against here? Okay, so first of all, language processing. Well, one of the first things I would say is, although ChatGPT came out, 2 Novembers ago, it's a pretty recent tool. AI has been doing language processing for quite a while. So if you've ever used something like Gmail Smart Reply to give you a suggestion to reply to an email, well, that's AI. Or if you've used Gmail Smart Compose or Docs Smart Compose, where you're typing along and it starts suggesting words, yeah, well, you've been using AI. If you've used translation, if you use Google Translate, yeah, that's AI that's taking words and translating them into another language. So you have been using it way before ChatGPT came out. But yes, for sure, ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini and Claude, these are the tools now that have come out in the last few years that are kind of leading the charge when it comes to being able to process language. These are large language models. There's a whole bunch of them. These are not the only ones. Besides ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini and Claude, there's things like Pi and Perplexity and Meta. So many options out there. But basically, yeah, these are tools that have been trained on billions, sometimes trillions of pieces of data, and they can pull from that data to be able to generate responses. So just as a quick example, I've got ChatGPT pulled up, I've got Gemini, I've got Claude. Let's say we ask it a quick question here tonight, since we are talking about AI here today. Let's say we ask it something like, hey, can you explain how an AI large language model is trained? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT that question. I'm going to ask Google Gemini that question. And I'm going to ask Claude from Anthropic that question. And basically, here we go. We are getting a generated response to this, which again is not a copy paste. This is not just getting copied and pasted from some website. It's everything that the AI knows about, in this case, training a large language model, data collection, data pre-processing, model architecture design, the training process, the fine-tuning, evaluation and testing, deployment. My guess is Gemini is going to give us a lot of similar things. Absolutely, picking up a lot of similar things, and Claude as well is hitting a lot of those same pieces of information. Now, if I asked it the same question tomorrow, I'd get a slightly different answer. Same facts, but worded kind of different because it is responding uniquely to me as I'm asking this. Well, the beauty of this is, maybe I'm teaching my students about AI. This might be a little high level for them. So I could come in here and say, okay, that's great, but could you explain that, in simpler terms? Explain that in a way that would be understandable and engaging for an elementary school student. And so now ChatGPT is rewording this, taking everything it knows about AI training and combining it with what it knows about elementary students. And so now we're talking about collecting books, cleaning up the books, breaking down the words, building a robot's brain, teaching the robot, getting better with specific stories, checking the robot's work, and so putting it in a way that's so much more concrete and understandable. And of course, we could even have fun with that and go a step further. We could say something like, well, how about you explain that in the form of a poem in the style of Dr. Seuss? And of course, there you go. It's now going to go through the same content, but now it's putting it into the form of a poem that we could use to explain how AI is trained. Now, obviously, that's one example. You could replace this with any content that you are learning or your students are learning, and there are so many other possible uses of it. But at the moment, those are some of the most powerful language processing tools we had. And you know what? If I stopped right there, if I said, those are the tools, that would be enough. That they are so transformative, what we're able to do with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, with these tools. But the thing is, folks, it doesn't stop there. This is just one piece of what AI has developed into, because we also have things like image processing, the ability for AI to understand a picture, and also to be able to create images. So for example, if I were to pop out to, this is one of Google's little demo sites here where I can upload an image and see what the AI thinks about it. I'm going to grab a picture actually of my grandkids. I talked about them earlier, so I'll go ahead and do that. Here's a picture of my grandkids picking out pumpkins at the pumpkin patch not too long ago. So let's say I pop on over here and I drag and drop that image here and let it analyze it, Google's AI can now break down that image and identify what is happening in here. It's identifying different faces and the emotions that those faces have. It's identifying different objects inside of the image and on. So AI can take pictures and can understand what those images are representing. And this is so helpful for things like Google Photos, where you can upload your pictures and basically the AI is going to tag and label all of your photos for you, or tools like auto draw, where you can sketch a little doodle and the AI tries to figure out what you drew and draws a better version of it for you that you can use. Or things like semiconductor, where you conduct a virtual orchestra by moving your arms within a web camera, and it can use vision to understand that, and on and on. There are so many of these tools, things like Socratic for help with homework, Google Lens, just point your phone at anything and it will tell you what breed of dog that is, or it'll translate text for you, on and on and on. And now, of course, with tools like Gemini and ChatGPT, we can upload images right to the AI and say, tell us about this. But then we can go the other direction. We can say, make an image for us. So, in Gemini, I asked it to make a castle on a hill at night with a moon in the sky and a river down below. And it did. It generated this image for me. And then I went through and said, okay, this is fantastic, but can you do it in Van Gogh style, or in a kid's crayon drawing, or with Legos, or in stained glass? And of course, it went through and adjusted that. And there's so many tools that could do this for us. Things like Ideogram and Canva, Bing Image Creator, DALL-E 3. I did ask once for DALL-E 3 to do a bearded man in his 50s on a stage presenting a session at a tech conference. And honestly, I don't think it's not all that far off. That's actually pretty good. Let's try this out here though tonight. Let's ask for the AI to create a picture for us. Let's pop back over to ChatGPT, and let's say we want a picture of a create an image in the style of an old school video game graphic of a classroom full of students with laptops on their desks and a teacher teaching at the front of the classroom with a large screen with the words "Week of AI" on it. And there you go. So I described this, I said, I want some old school video game graphics, Week of AI, somebody up front teaching, everybody with laptops. And there we go. We've got our image. So just amazingly powerful to be able to use AI for image processing. But again, it doesn't stop there. We've got things like music processing. Now, again, not something new. We definitely have had music processing for a while. Things like assisted melody, where you can play a tune and then the AI plays along with you, or Google's hum to search, where if you don't know a song, you can hum it and Google will listen and identify what song it was you were humming. Or things like the Freddie meter, where you can try to sing like Freddie Mercury from Queen, and it will rate you on your pitch, your melody, and your timbre. And yes, I did get that 61% on Bohemian Rhapsody there, but I will not do that tonight. But now we've got tools like Music LM or Music FX or Udio, where now we can have the AI writing music for us, creating music for us as well. So I did try this out. I used the Udio website. That's the one I've been having the most success with lately. And I asked it to make a song for us tonight. And I think I threw in some descriptors, like I wanted it to be sort of like a video game style song. And I wanted it to be about the week of AI and about educators learning about AI. So let me drag it over here and hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I'll drag and drop it in. Here's what it generated for us.
Teach and learn, let the circuits swirl. In a week of AI, new wisdom unfurl. Algorithms and lessons so deftly twine with the spark of a real live mind.
And it goes on from there. So just amazing to be able to now generate, full songs as well with these AI tools. Again, if we stopped there, it would be amazing. But no, AI is doing even more things that typically we would think a human would be required for. Speech processing, as an example. Now, again, We've been doing this for years. If you use Google Docs voice typing, yep, that's AI that's listening to you and typing up what you have to say, or things like automatic captioning, tools like read along or interview warm up, where the AI listens to you and transcribes what you say and gives you feedback on it. But now we're getting into tools that go even beyond that, where they can generate spoken words based upon voices that they've been trained on. So I took my voice and I uploaded it here to the 11 Labs website. Just like 5 minutes of me speaking. I think I used one of my YouTube videos and uploaded it and basically made an Eric model. And so now I can just come here and type up whatever I want the Eric model to say. So I just typed in good afternoon or good evening. I'm so excited to be speaking with you today about artificial intelligence and education. And now I'm going to hit generate speech, and let's see how well it does with my model. Let's try this out. Good afternoon or good evening. I am so excited to be speaking with you today about artificial intelligence in education. Very nice. It did a really nice job there. That's really good. So that's fantastic. But it goes further. Now we've got video processing, where we had, text to text, text to image, text to music. Now it's text to video. Recently, OpenAI announced Sora, which is their text to video tool, where you just put in text and it makes a video from that. I won't play this whole thing here because, again, with it being on YouTube, I don't want to have a YouTube copyright issue there. But I would encourage you to try that out. Head over to openai.com/Sora, and you can see the type of amazing. I'll just here, maybe I can jump up to a spot in here where I can just show you. Like you've got some golden retriever puppies playing in the snow, and it's just amazing. That was the prompt they put in, and it generated that video. And then beyond that, we've got things like Microsoft's VASA 1 tool that they showed off, where you can simply upload a single image, give it an audio clip, and it will then create a video of that person speaking, even though it's just a single still image. I'll show you a quick clip out of that. Hopefully that won't be a problem. So here's one where this particular lady took a single shot of her, uploaded some audio, and this is what came out of it.
Have you ever had, maybe you're in that place right now where you want to turn your life around, and somewhere deep in your soul, there could be some decisions that you have to make. Like, it's like something was decided for you. And instead of trying to make something that is.
And again, all of that just from a voice and a still image. It created the video of the entire person speaking. Then if we go further, we can also use tools like Hey Jen to modify existing videos. So here's a quick little video clip I did for a totally different conference, where I was just saying hi and doing a quick intro. I'm going to play you just a clip of the original. Then I'll show you what I did after I ran it through Hey Jen. So here's the original. Good morning. My name is Eric, and I am so excited to be learning with you today. Thank you so much for having me here for the technology conference. Now, I took that video, uploaded it to Hey Jen. Let me pop up to that next slide there. And I asked Hey Jen to translate it into Spanish. And here's what came out.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Eric y estoy muy emocionado de estar aprendiendo contigo hoy. Muchas gracias por tenerme aquí para la conferencia de tecnología. Hoy vamos a discutir la.
So not only did it take my voice and translate it to another language, but it also moved my mouth to match what I was saying. So just, again, fantastic, just amazing. Now, all of those tools there might be your aha moment. Okay. All the things we just looked at, one of those may have been your aha moment. Maybe it was, a year and a half ago when ChatGPT launched. Maybe that was your, something has changed moment. Or maybe tonight when I showed you, Hey Jen, having me speak in Spanish. Maybe that was it. Or when you heard the song that the AI wrote, or whatever the case, one of these may have been your, something has changed here. This is more serious than I thought it was. Well, for me, my aha moment was almost 7 years ago and it dealt with logic processing. That was the thing that got my attention, that got me really looking at AI. And it came down to this event with AlphaGo. Now, if you don't know much about this, I'll give you the quick background on what's going on here. So basically, Google had developed a division called DeepMind, and DeepMind still exists. That's Google's AI division. And Google DeepMind, one of the challenges it was working on was trying to see if they could get a computer to be able to play the game of Go. Now, I don't know. I'm not an expert on Go at all, so I may have a little bit of this wrong, but in general, it's an ancient Chinese game where you're taking these tiles, putting them on this board. I know you're trying to control different portions of the board as you play. I have not played the game myself, but the thing about it is the reason why it was a challenge is because of the size of the board and how many possible configurations that could yield. Now, why is that a challenge? Why did the AI people want to have Go as this ultimate challenge? Well, here's the thing. When people would, in the past, have a computer play, chess or checkers or something like that, a lot of times they were really just having the computer brute force it. What I mean by that is the computer would see, here's the board, this is where the pieces are at, and the computer could predict, okay, let me run through every possible move. I could do this or this or this or this, and it could follow all those different trails down and figure out what the best move was, because computers were powerful enough to work through all of the checkers moves. Well, the problem is, because of the size of the board, this 19 by 19 grid, there are more possible configurations of a Go board than there are atoms in the universe. It's just a math thing. It's just exponents. That's just how it works. There's more ways to configure the board than there are atoms in the universe. So basically what that meant was you can't brute force it. You're not going to be able to have a computer that can just go through every option and pick the best one. And so it became the holy grail of AI. People saying, well, okay, this is something that AI is never going to be able to accomplish this. Well, Google decided to take that on. And so DeepMind came up with a new approach. And honestly, this is the reason we're having this conversation at all today. What DeepMind developed was the beginning of the AI revolution that we are now benefiting from. They said, okay, here's what we need to do. Let's see if we can, instead of brute forcing this, let's create this AI called AlphaGo, and let's feed it as many possible games as possible. We'll show it games that have been played to let it learn from previous games. That sounds familiar, right? Kind of like feeding the large language models like we do now. And then they said, and then let's let it play itself. And they said, AlphaGo, go play yourself. And basically the AI played itself millions and millions and millions of times. And as it did so, it learned. It started picking up patterns, and it started noticing, oh, this is a good move, this is a bad move. It started developing strategies. It started creating, hunches on what was a good or a bad move after it played itself millions and millions of times. And so the day finally came where AlphaGo was going to go up against Lee Sedol. Lee Sedol, the greatest Go player in the world, dedicated his entire life to playing Go, best Go player in the world. And this was a big event. You got these people in the back here. They were videotaping this. You can watch this on YouTube. There were people giving commentation on it while the competition was going on. And so there we went. So basically, AlphaGo plays Lee Sedol, and as the game is going, it starts making some really interesting choices. It'll get to a turn. It's got to make a choice, and so AlphaGo again can't go through every possibility, but it starts using again its experience, its intuition, its creativity, and it starts making choices that it thinks are going to be the best choice. And some of those choices really confuse the folks who are watching the game. They're like, what is AlphaGo doing? Why is it putting a piece there? That doesn't even make any sense. That must be must be a glitch or something. And then like 5 moves later, they were going like, oh my gosh, that's what it was doing. Like they were realizing it had strategy that nobody had even thought of before. It was making moves that people had not even really considered as good strategy. It was coming up with new creative ways to play and eventually to win. And it did. It beat Lee Sedol. It beat the greatest Go player in the world. Now, for me, that was my wake up moment. That was my aha moment 7 years ago when I'm like, okay, I need to dig into this. And I really did from there on. I started really exploring AI. Now, here's my question. Having seen all of these amazing, powerful things that AI can do, creating songs, creating videos, translating, making images, making text, all of these things, what is our response to it? When an AI does something this powerful, how do we respond? Well, the concern is, as educators, as schools, sometimes our responses, they're not always the best. Sometimes we push back against these things. I've heard schools say, okay, put the brakes on this. We are shutting this down. We are blocking these tools. We are shutting this down. I've seen a lot of pushback against AI. I've seen, other understandable things, maybe people who just want to ignore it. Like, okay, how many years left till I can retire? Can I get through before I have to deal with this? So, it may be, anger, it may be fear, it may be just trying to ignore it. And I do understand that. I do. I'm not saying those are wrong or unreasonable. It is a massive change to our current systems. And so I do get that. I do understand that. And yes, there are concerns about AI. I am not here tonight in any way to downplay that. I do an entire session just on managing the concerns of potential misuses of AI. So that is so important that we do address that. But what is our response? What is our philosophy when we see what AI can do? How do we respond? Well, unfortunately, like I said, a lot of times schools have not had the best track record with this. Go back to when calculators became affordable enough that everybody could own a calculator. Here's an article from back in 1972 where a school district is being talked to in New York. I think it's Dr. Vogely, I believe the superintendent of the school district, is being interviewed about these new pocket calculators and should we have these in the school. Now, I know AI is not the same as a calculator, but what I mean is a disruptive change into education. How do we respond to it? There's a similarity there. In this article, here's a quote from it. When Dr. Vogely was asked this question, since schools still stress computation skills, a calculator might not be a wise present for a young pupil. Teachers will view them as a crutch, and this is an accurate view if you look at the curriculum, Dr. Vogely said. So yeah, I do get that. That is something we have seen in the past and maybe still see now. Well, here's the thing, folks. Although I can appreciate that, and certainly I have felt a little intimidation at times when I have seen what AI can do, I don't think that's the right response. I don't think that's not the response I want to be encouraging folks tonight. So what do I think is the right answer to this? Well, for me, it actually came from something that happened 20 years before the DeepMind, the AlphaGo competition that we just saw. 20 years prior to that, a very similar competition happened, but this time it was Deep Blue from IBM, and it was the game of chess. Now, you might be more familiar with this one than the other. This one was definitely widely known. So Garry Kasparov, the greatest chess player in the world, went up against a computer that was trained to play chess called Deep Blue from IBM. Very similar story. They trained it, they made it better and better and better. It started beating, novice players, then better players, then better and better and better until it went up against the greatest living chess player in the world, Garry Kasparov. Well, if you can tell from the expression on his face, he lost that competition. And afterwards, he was interviewed. And you can read it. You can explore all of this. He was interviewed about his loss to the AI computer that beat him in chess. And the question they asked him, they said, well, Gary, so what does this mean? Who is the best chess player in the world? Is it a human? Is it a computer? What is the best chess player in the world? Well, that question might look a little familiar to you because that's where I got my question for tonight. The question we've been dancing around this whole session: who or what is the best teacher in the world? Will technology ever replace a teacher? I got that question when I read that interview that they had with Garry Kasparov. Well, here's this guy who has just lost a chess match to a computer after spending his entire life becoming the best chess player in the world. He could have been angry. He could have been frightened. He could have denied it. He could have argued. He could have tried to shut this down. But what was his response? I think his response is our response. When he was asked, who is the best chess player in the world? Kasparov said, well, I got to tell you, the best chess player is not a human. I lost. It beat me. I mean, it is not a human. But the best chess player is not a computer. He went on to say the best chess player in the world is a human using a computer. And what he did was fascinating. He went on to form a new kind of chess competition. Now, some folks call it advanced chess, cyborg chess, centaur chess, Ivanov chess. But basically what it is a human, here he is, here's Kasparov, gets partnered with a computer and goes up against another human partnered with a computer playing chess. It's the best of what the human can bring, coupled with the best that the technology can bring together. And he said this has raised the level of chess above anything they had ever even imagined before by bringing the best of the human and the best of the computer together. And, you know, when Lee Sedol lost, he basically said the same thing. He could have been just crushed by, you know, the AlphaGo program beating him. But he says, no, I'm inspired. I'm thinking of new ways to play that I never have even thought of before. This is making me a better Go player. So I guess you guys can all guess where I'm going with this. Our question that I asked early on, who is the best teacher in the world? Well, I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't mean this in any sort of a negative way, but I'm here to say, yeah, the best teacher is not a human, but the best teacher is not a computer. I believe the best teacher in the world is a human who is using technology to its fullest potential. And the best learner, the best student is a human who is using technology to its fullest potential. When I was a kid, I loved the $6 Million Man. If you're not familiar with that show, it was the Bionic Man. So basically, Steve Austin is this astronaut, and he's training on Earth as a jet pilot, and the plane crashes, and he's incredibly injured, near death. And they say, hold on, we can rebuild him. We can make the world's first bionic man. We can make him stronger, better, faster. And I would, if I had the time, I would play the little clip for you. But again, I don't want YouTube to get angry about me playing the clip, so I won't do that. But in that clip, those are the lines that get mentioned. We have the technology. We can make him better, stronger, faster. We can make the world's first bionic man. Well, folks, that's what I'm asking you to be, a bionic educator. We have the technology, something that we've been wanting for, again, this is my 32nd year in education, things that we've been hoping for and being promised for so many years. We finally have the technology. We have AI tools that can meet every single student where they're at. Individualized, personalized instruction, support, tutoring, feedback, enrichment. Now, it's not replacing the teacher. It's coming alongside the teacher. It's the best of what you can do as a teacher alongside of the best that the AI can bring to it, allowing every student to get a personalized, individualized instruction or enrichment or tutoring, whatever the case might be. We finally have the technology. And there are so many amazing ways we can use it. I'm clearly not going to run through all of these right now. I would point you back to the document here. About halfway down in the document, I've got an entire section in here where I talk about uses of AI. And so here, starting on page 7 and 8, all these different ways that AI can be used. And there's so many possibilities, whether it's just helping us with tasks so that we have more time back in our day to do what we do best, to interact with students, or if it is supporting our students, being able to take content and put it at a level that's appropriate for the student. If it's processing massive amounts of data and figuring out which students maybe are at risk and need additional help, whether it's helping with reading by changing the reading level of text or putting it in a style the students will understand, whether it's helping with writing, generating writing prompts, generating outlines, main ideas, co-writing with the AI, whether it's having a conversation with the AI, doing a debate on a topic, or interviewing the AI as if it was a character from a book or somebody from history or an animal or an object or whatever, and allowing the students to think deeper on a topic than they would be able to do otherwise. Whether it's giving feedback on your writing, on students' writing, again, personalized, individualized feedback on how to improve writing, whether it's serving as a personal tutor, again, to meet a student where they're at, not just give them the answer, but bring them along to help them understand content. Or even things like coding. Even if you're not a coder, you can just say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to create this simulation or this educational game or this activity, and it can help you in the coding of that. All of these are just amazing, amazing ways that AI can make us better, stronger, and faster. It can make us bionic educators. Now, all of those amazing examples, I hope, help dissuade us from the old response to a new transformative technology that shows up in schools. And you know what, to be honest, I actually was a little bit unfair to Dr. Vogley in this quote. When Dr. Vogley was answering this question about calculators in school, I cut him off partway through his response. There actually was a second piece to what he said. Here's how he continued what he was saying, adding that eventually educators would have to revise their thinking to take the new hardware into account. Someday, he predicted, every student will have a calculator built into his desk so that teachers can spend more time on mathematics concepts and less on computation. Dr. Vogley got it. Dr. Vogley was a bionic educator. He realized we're going to have to change our thinking. The genie's not going back in the bottle. It's not going away. We have to revise our thinking. Someday, this will be ubiquitous. It is now in the hands of every student. But here's the beauty. We can spend time on higher level things, not just computation, but concepts. We can go beyond our students and ourselves. We can be better, we can be stronger, we can be faster. And folks, we need to do that because we don't want this to be the future. We don't want a future where teachers and librarians and educators, where those jobs disappear. And it doesn't have to be that way because, again, I don't know who came up with this quote, but it's a wonderful one. If you're worried that this new AI is going to take your job, don't worry about that. The common quote goes, AI will not take your job. People who know how to use AI will. That's the future we're heading into. It's imperative that we embrace this technology so we can bring the best of what it offers and the best of what we offer so that we can be the best teacher we can possibly be, and our students can be the best learners they can possibly be. That is my encouragement to you here today, to be a bionic educator, to embrace the technology. Yes, absolutely. We must address the concerns, biases, inaccuracies, academic integrity, all those things. But the philosophy we bring to it is going to determine so much the success we have with this. So we have the technology. We can be bionic educators, better, stronger, and faster. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that journey. I'm learning right alongside with all of you, and so excited that the Week of AI has provided all of these amazing opportunities for us to move one step closer to being that bionic educator. Again, you can get to all of the resources I shared at bit.ly/Curts-AI. That'll take you to that document that has 20 pages worth of resources in there, including loads of links from what I pulled for this session here today. Also links out to the rest of my AI content in there as well. So I'm going to wrap that up at this point. So if there's any comments or questions, I am thrilled to take those. I know we're really close to the end of our time here, and I do not want to infringe upon the next round of folks who are going to be speaking. But Erica, anybody else, anything you saw there that we should address before we wrap up?
Well, I just saw a lot of beautiful compliments, that's for sure. And somebody just asked about the document, but you have it up on the screen. Christy, did you see anything? You're muted, hun.
She's speechless.
Oh, sorry, Amanda. I didn't.
I gave the wrong link. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
I think in the chat, I just saw so many aha moments, or what I call yeehaw moments, of just all the things that you've shared that maybe educators haven't gotten into, all the different things. And so, like, I think we just enjoyed seeing where AI was and where it's headed to, and the endless possibilities that we can use it in education.
I'm still reading these beautiful comments. And Eric, I was having so much fun playing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to do my work for my next session.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain I'm going to go to 11 labs right after this.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
And when you were speaking another language, I was like, I'm going to actually have a relationship now with my ELL students. That was cool. That was so cool.
Yeah. Oh, we got a question here. What is your thoughts on the Senate AI report put out yesterday?
I have not seen the Senate AI report yesterday, so that will be something I need to take a look at. So thanks for sharing that. I have not had a chance to investigate that.
And Aaron says you're just as dope as you were when he first started following you way back. Proof that educators can be on the leading edge of innovation.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I don't think I've ever liked you as much as you know, seeing you in the Week of AI shirt.
Hey, how about that? There you go. I love it. It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yay.
Well, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
No, that was an amazing keynote. I'm excited because I don't get to go to all the conferences everywhere. And when I'm at a conference, it's hard to jump into your sessions because usually our days are packed. So it was just awesome.
Well, again, I really appreciate it. And I do mean that seriously. I was not here tonight to present to anybody, but to learn with everybody. We're all on this journey together. And so please do stay connected, everybody. Connect with me. All my contact info is at the top there. I want to keep learning with you and from you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Eric. It was wonderful as always. Okay, Amanda, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, we're going to wrap the session. We're going to split into our breakouts. We have hour-long sessions, another section of hour-long sessions in stream 1, 2, and 3. So if you're like me, you have all 3 streams pulled up at once, and you know I'm going back in between my screens trying to catch all the nuggets from everybody, and or pick one with fidelity and stick with it and catch the others on the replay. So we'll see you in the other streams.
Bye, Eric. Bye.